There is a rule in my culture that nobody talks about openly, but it has quietly shaped the financial future of millions of Chinese families for generations. Every Chinese father lives by it. And if you are sitting here right now wondering why money never seems to stay, why you work hard but your accounts never grow, this rule is exactly what you are missing. Today, I am going to give it to you directly. 6 things that Chinese people almost never buy. Not because we cannot afford them, but because we were taught, young, early, and firmly, that these 6 things are silent thieves. Before I give you the list, you need to understand something most people get completely wrong. Chinese frugality is not about being cheap. Let me say that again. It is not about suffering. It is not about deprivation. It is not about counting every coin with a sad face. It is about one word, Wei Lai, the future. My father used to say that every purchase is a vote. You are either voting for your present comfort or your future power. Most people in the West were taught to enjoy now and figure it out later. But Chinese families, especially those who built wealth from nothing, were taught the opposite. Protect first, enjoy after. And here is what most people don't know. This philosophy was born from survival, not preference. Generations of Chinese families lived through famine, war, and economic collapse. They learned that comfort today could mean catastrophe tomorrow, so they developed a filter, a mental gate. Before any purchase, the question was never, "Can I afford this?" The question was always, "Does this build or does this drain?" That one question changes everything. Now here is the first thing, and I promise you, this one is going to sting. Chinese families almost never buy status symbols before the wealth is real. No luxury bag to look successful, no expensive watch to feel important, no car that costs more than your savings. But here is what most people don't understand about this rule. It is not about the object itself. It is about what buying it early signals about your mindset. My uncle told me something when I was 17 years old that I have never forgotten. He said, "The man who buys the symbol before the substance will spend his whole life performing wealth instead of building it." And he was right. Here is what I observed growing up. The Chinese families who accumulated real money looked ordinary on the outside. Plain cars, simple clothes, modest homes. But their bank accounts told a completely different story. They understood something critical, that luxury purchased before it is earned does not elevate you. It traps you. It locks you into maintaining an image, and maintaining an image is one of the most expensive habits a person can have. Protect your capital first. The symbols will come. This one surprises people every single time I mention it. Chinese households, even wealthy ones, almost never buy heavily branded food products. Not the famous cereal with the cartoon mascot, not the premium sauce with the celebrity face on the bottle, not the packaged snack in the beautiful glossy bag. And here is the reason most people have never considered. When you buy a branded food product, you are not paying for the food, you are paying for the advertising that convinced you to want it. Studies have shown that in many packaged food products, up to 40% of the price is pure marketing cost passed on to the consumer. My mother used to say, "The louder the label, the emptier the nutrition." Chinese cooking culture is built around fresh ingredients, local markets, and making things from base components. Not because it is trendy, but because it is simply how wealth-conscious people have always eaten. Here's what changes when you stop buying branded food. Your grocery bill drops, your meals get more nutritious, and you stop funding commercials that were designed to manipulate you. That is not frugality, that is intelligence. Let me be crystal clear about something that the modern economy is built on hiding from you. Convenience is a product, and it is one of the most aggressively overpriced products ever sold. Pre-cut vegetables, delivery fees on top of delivery fees, single-serve packaging. subscription boxes for things you could buy once. Chinese households have an almost cultural resistance to paying the convenience premium, but not because they enjoy inconvenience. Here is what most people don't realize. Every time you pay for convenience, you are also paying a hidden tax on your own unwillingness to plan. And Chinese family culture is deeply oriented around planning. Meals are planned weekly. Shopping is done in bulk at the right time. Tasks are batched, not handled one impulsive purchase at a time. My grandmother could feed 8 people for less than what most people spend feeding 2, not through deprivation, but through preparation. The convenience economy profits specifically from people who have no system. Build the system. Eliminate the premium. Because here is the brutal truth. The convenience tax does not just cost you money. It costs you the habit of thinking ahead. And that habit is worth far more than any delivery discount. Here is something that took me years to fully understand, and when I did, it changed how I moved through every store, every website, every sale. Chinese elders have a practice that sounds almost too simple. They wait. Not forever, not as a punishment, but as a discipline. Before any non-essential purchase, the rule passed down in my family was this: wait 3 days. If you still want it on day 3, consider it. If you forgot about it, you never needed it. Here is what modern retail science actually confirms. The majority of unplanned purchases are driven by emotional triggers: stress, boredom, social comparison, the artificial urgency of a sale countdown. Chinese frugality instinctively understood this centuries before behavioral economics gave it a name. The emotion passes, but the money does not come back. And here is what nobody tells you about emotional spending. It is rarely about the object. It is about a feeling you are trying to buy. But feelings cannot be purchased. They can only be manufactured internally. When you master the pause, you stop funding your moods with your future. That discipline alone can save thousands per year. Most people think about what something costs when they buy it. Chinese thinking asks a completely different question. What will this be worth in 5 years? This is the hidden law behind how Chinese families allocate money, and it explains a pattern that many outsiders find confusing. Why does a Chinese family happily spend on a child's education but refuse to upgrade to a newer phone every year? Why will they invest in a quality tool that lasts 20 years but not in a trendy item that is outdated in 6 months? Because they are thinking in return, not in cost. A phone that loses 40% of its value the moment you open the box is not just an expense, it is a leak. And Chinese households are obsessed with closing leaks: fast fashion, trend-based electronics, novelty furniture, seasonal decor. These are all products designed around a cycle of artificial obsolescence, built to be replaced, not to last. Here is what changes when you apply this filter. Every purchase becomes an investment question. Does this hold value? Does this build capability? Does this return something? If the answer is no, you put it down and walk away, every single time. And now we arrive at the most expensive thing on this entire list, the one that costs the most, the one that almost nobody recognizes as a purchase: other people's opinions. Every time you buy something to impress someone who is not paying your bills, you are purchasing their approval with your future. Chinese culture has a complicated relationship with social face. I will not pretend otherwise. But the elders who built real wealth understood something that the approval seekers did not. You can never buy enough approval to fill that gap. There will always be a newer car to compare to, a bigger house to envy, a more impressive title to chase. My father told me once, "The man who spends to be seen will spend forever and arrive nowhere." Here's what most people don't know about this pattern. Social spending is the single largest invisible drain in middle-class households globally. Keeping up with neighbors, matching peers, performing success at family gatherings. It is relentless, and it is bankrupting people quietly, slowly, and with a smile. The old Chinese rule is simple: build in private, let the results speak publicly. Stop paying for applause with your savings. Let me bring this home for you, because this is the part that matters most. These 6 rules are not about restriction. They are not about living small. They are not about punishing yourself for wanting things. They are about protection. Every one of these 6 things, status symbols bought too early, branded food, convenience premiums, emotional purchases, fast depreciating goods, and approval spending. Every single one of them shares one common characteristic. They transfer your wealth to someone else's future while delaying your own. The Chinese families I grew up watching, the ones who quietly built something real, they did not do it through luck. They did not do it through some secret investment. They did it through a filter, a mental gate they applied to every single purchase, every single day. Does this build or does this drain? That question, asked consistently over years, compounded into houses, into education, into businesses, into generational security. Now let me recap the 6 things. 1. Status symbols before the substance is real. 2. Branded food you are paying to be advertised to. 3. Convenience that funds your lack of a plan. 4. Emotional purchases made in the moment. 5. Anything that loses value with no return. 6. Other people's opinions purchased with your savings. Write these down, apply the filter starting today. And if this message reached something real inside you, drop the number 6 in the comments right now. Let that be your declaration. Your future is watching what you decide next.